They
Here is
want you
the
to believe that
expanded,
credit cards are just a
high-octane
tool,
version of the
but it's a
script.
trap. It's called
It dives
inflation,
deeper
the silent
into the
tax.
dark
But making your
psychology
first
of financial
20,000 changes
traps.
everything. You flip the
Introduces
invisible
the
switch.
concept
It's
of
the invisible
silent tax,
switch that turns savers
turns
into
the narrative
debtors.
into an
This is
absolute
the silent
page-turner
tax,
that forces the
evaporating
viewer
your
to keep
wealth.
listening.
But your first 20,000
The
changes
invisible
everything.
switch. Why your first $20,000 changes everything. You know that exact moment when you log into your banking app, and instead of immediately closing it in a cold sweat, you actually smile. It's the moment you stop playing mental math at the
You know
grocery
that feeling when
checkout
you check
line
your
or
bank
wondering
account and
if
actually
buying a
smile?
coffee means you'll
You
be
stop
eating
worrying at the
instant
checkout
ramen
line.
for the rest of the
That
month.
is the real milestone.
There's a very specific psychological milestone where this shift happens. And despite what every financial guru on your feed screams, it isn't $1 million, and it isn't even six figures. There is a
hidden
much
threshold
smaller
that completely
hidden
rewires
threshold
your
that
relationship with
completely
money. Once you
rewires
cross
your
it, gravity
relationship
flips.
with money.
That number is 20,000.
There is
There's
an
a dark
invisible
chemical
boundary
reason
line
for this
that
specific number.
90% of the population walks right past without ever realizing it exists. Once you cross it, the laws of gravity flip in your favor. That magic number is $20,000. But why exactly $20,000? Why not 10 or 50? There is a dark chemical reason for this specific number, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time studying the deep
why some
psychology
effortlessly
of money.
scale, while
Specifically,
others stay trapped in
why
loops.
some people
Hit that
effortlessly
subscribe button and
scale
drop a
their
thumbs up
wealth,
right now.
while others stay trapped in the exact same financial loops for decades.
My name
If
is
you want
Nick,
to master
and I study the
hidden
deep psychology
mechanics
of
real
money.
leverage
Why do some
instead of
scale
just
while others
wishing
stay
for a
trapped?
miracle,
To master real
hit
leverage, hit that subscribe button
right
and drop a
now.
thumbs up if you're
And
ready.
drop a thumbs up if you're ready to see the game differently. Before we dissect why $20,000 is the ultimate tipping point, let me ask you a question that might make you uncomfortable. When you visualize building wealth, what do you see? A trust fund kid who never knew scarcity, or someone grinding away, saving one painful dollar at a time?
Building momentum
is,
doesn't
building
happen
momentum
linearly.
doesn't
Financial
happen
growth is
linearly.
guarded by invisible
Financial
barriers.
growth is guarded
The
by
absolute worst
invisible
part is the
barriers.
first 3
If
inches.
you've ever
You pour
tried
in
to push a
100% of your
massive
energy,
boulder
and the
up a
market
steep hill, you know the absolute worst part is the first 3 inches. You are sweating, straining, seeing zero progress, and questioning your sanity. This is where most people quit, because the feedback loop is completely broken. You pour in 100% of your energy, and the market returns 0.1% of results. But the moment you push that boulder over the crest of the hill, it begins to roll under its own weight. Suddenly gravity is doing the heavy lifting for you. Hitting $20,000 is crossing that crest. Everything before it is a brutal uphill battle against the gravity of systemized debt and low-wage stagnation. Everything after it feels like the wind is finally at your back. But the real magic here isn't just mathematical, it's neurological. It's about escaping what psychologists call the scarcity tunnel. When you have zero breathing room, your brain operates in pure survival mode. High stress floods your prefrontal cortex with cortisol, literally lowering your functional IQ. Every single decision is filtered through fear. You accept a toxic job because you can't afford to be picky. You stay in draining situations because walking away feels like jumping out of a plane without a parachute,
just to make rent. You say yes to things the bandwidth is burned up by media threats.
Just to make rent. When your house is on fire, you don't have the luxury of planning a summer vacation. Your entire mental bandwidth is burned up by immediate threats. This is the silent tax of being broke. It steals your ability to think about the future. But the moment you secure that $20,000 buffer, your brain gains oxygen. Data shows that even a tiny $2,000 emergency fund boosts overall financial well-being by over 20%. But when you scale that buffer to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses, landing right around that $20,000 mark, something incredible unlocks. Your mind transitions from a defensive, reactive posture to an aggressive, proactive strategy. You stop asking, how do I survive the month? And start asking, how do I weaponize this asset? Let's look at the raw math, because this is where the system begins to look rigged in your favor. Imagine you are aggressively investing $1,000 a month at an 8% return. Compounding your first $20,000 takes about 19 months of fierce discipline and delayed gratification. It's a long, quiet year and a half, and frankly, it's where most people throw in the towel because they don't see the immediate reward. But watch how the matrix bends right after that. Your second $20,000 doesn't take another 19 months. It takes 17. Think about the psychological weight of that statement. You performed the exact same amount of work, sacrificed the same amount of income, and took the exact same market risk. Yet you shaved 2 entire months off the clock. Why? Because your first $20,000 was in the trenches working right alongside you, generating its own velocity. By the time you aim for your third, fourth, and fifth milestones, the timeline collapses rapidly. And when you hit the bigger numbers, say
$400,000 in less than 5 months, complete stays the same
can generate
on autopilot.
that same $20,000 in less than 5 months, completely on autopilot. The effort stays the same, but the speed turns into a rocket ship. Wealthy people don't possess a secret map to an exclusive investment world. They simply understand scale. A 10% return on a $2,000 account is $200. It's nice, but it won't change your life. But a 10% return on $20,000 is $2,000. Now you have an independent financial worker generating income that didn't require an extra hour of your sweat. The strategy hasn't changed, the scale did. Yet the most profound transformation isn't the number in your account, it's your identity. To stack $20,000 from scratch requires you to plug your financial leaks, master your impulses, and consistently choose your future over your present comfort. You prove to yourself that you dictate the terms of your life, not your bills. This entirely changes your career leverage. Living paycheck to paycheck makes you a captive audience to bad bosses, stagnant wages, and toxic corporate cultures. You can't demand a raise or push back on unrealistic goals because you are negotiating out of absolute desperation. But $20,000 is walking away money. It gives you the quiet confidence of a person who doesn't need the room they are sitting in. When you have 6 months of survival tucked away, you sit differently in interviews. You speak with the authority of an asset owner, not a desperate applicant. And ironically, when you stop acting out of fear, the marketplace treats you with immense respect. You project authority, and suddenly the promotions and high-ticket opportunities start chasing you. The biggest mistake people make is hitting this milestone, feeling the rush of freedom, and immediately blowing it on a lifestyle upgrade. The classic trap? A flashy car payment that actively destroys wealth the moment it leaves the lot. They trade their foundational freedom for a piece of depreciating metal just to look rich to people they don't even like. Don't make that trade. When you have $20,000 working for you, you stop agonizing over the micro decisions like the price of a generic brand versus a name brand, and you start optimizing the macro decisions, your housing costs, your scale of income generation, and your automated asset allocation. You transition from a consumer to an architect. You stop surviving a life you're trapped in, and you start designing a system that works for you while you sleep.
The boulder is heavy, and the hill is steep. But once you clear that crest, the game changes. The game stops playing you.
Consuming day by day. But once you clear that $20,000 crest, the entire landscape changes. The game stops playing you, and you start playing the game. Start pushing today. Your future self is waiting on the other side of that hill, and they are counting on you to make the shift.